Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Mark Cormier, and I'm with Kathy Cormier, and we will do our morning flow yoga practice for everybody out in Facebook Live land. And we'll get going in a few seconds here. All right, you ready to go, Kath?
I am.
Awesome, we'll come on up.
Thank you.
All right, how are you feeling this morning, Kathy?
I'm feeling good.
Cool. And you want to start seated, it looks like, which is
Oh
awesome.
yeah, I don't know if that was your plan.
It's all good.
It's how I'm going to start my day, but I need to make an intention of courageousness.
Courageousness. All right, we'll work on courageousness. One of my favorite courageous moves is the lion's breath. And we'll do that a little bit later on.
Awesome.
Should be fun. All right. Anything else you want to work on besides courageousness?
Staying calm.
Staying calm.
Calm and courage.
Okay, and that's kind of the, there's three energies in the yoga universe. There's the laying down energy, there's the up and atom energy, and there's also that energy between the two places where active relaxation or relaxed activity, called the sattvic energy, the illuminated energy. All right, so we'll start seated, cross-legged sit. As we sit, grounded down through our sits bones, tall through the crown. I'll invite you to bring your hands onto your knees, pulling back with your hands to settle the shoulders as we sit up a little straighter, a little taller. Without shortening the neck, a slight tuck of the chin as we start to take our attention inward, watching as our breath flows in and out. Just arriving here on our yoga mats, ready for a morning yoga practice. From this place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath as you find a long, slow inhalation in, followed by a long, slow exhalation out. As you breathe in, I'll invite you to find a full body breath, bringing the air to the top of the chest, the base of your belly, filling up each side waist, filling up both front and back planes of your body. As you breathe out, I'll encourage you to engage your abdominals, drawing the low belly in and up, concurrently lifting the kidneys in and up, squeezing a little more air out, more importantly, providing structural support for our spines as we move through these shapes and sequences, like wearing a corset from the inside. To this deeper, fuller breath, moving towards the go-to breath in many flow practices, the Ujjayi, the ocean breath, the victorious breath. A slight constriction of the base of your throat, adding a slight sound and feel to your breath. And as we flow through our practice this morning, letting the sound and feel of your breath be a focus for your practice. Always coming back to that sound and feel, the sound of which is often compared to the sounds of the ocean as the waves wash in and as the waves wash out. Now taking the tip of the tongue to the hard palate just behind the teeth, keeping that tongue loop throughout the practice, keeping our jaws relaxed and connecting front and back planes of our bodies. And finally, with your lips closed, adding a slight smile to your face, opening up the front of your throat so your breath has lots of room to circulate, refresh, and revitalize. Keeping all this, let's come off of our seat and find an all-fours position on our mat. At home, feeling free to face whatever way you'd like. Kathy, I'd like you to go sideways just so people can see your spine. So one thing I notice in the flow practice, there's a lot of push-ups if you choose, and there's a lot of down dogs. So the arms, the wrists, and the hands are bearing a lot of weight. And I notice people, it looks like their wrists are hurting a little bit. So in order to keep the wrists nice and supported, I'll ask you to really work those hands. Lots of space between each finger, grounding down a little bit between the thumb and the forefinger, drawing the energy up the inseams of the arms. And yeah, it's really solid hands, and that's going to help your wrists not bear too much weight. Now that we've settled the hands, let's start the cat-camel combo. First, finding our neutral spine, back of the head is in line with the sacrum. So here and here. And then from here, we're going to move towards the cat-camel combo. Breathing in, arcing the back. Breathing out, rounding the spine as you tuck tail, tuck toes, and tuck chin. Back and forth between the two places. I won't cue it, just following your breath. Just seeing how your back feels this morning. And even though we've got flexion on both sides, when we arc and when we arch, still feeling a sense of space in the spine. You might think of a ball on top and a ball underneath. And you're rounding up and over and up and under the circumference of each ball. Adding on to this cat-camel combo as we throw in a child's pose, breathing in, arcing the back. And then breathing out, rounding the spine as you draw the sits bones back towards the heels. And you can keep the toes unfurled for that one. Yeah. Inhaling, finding your arc as you arc the back. Exhaling, drawing it back as you find your arch. And I'll let you move back and forth between the two places. Some of us will approach the heels very closely. Others of us will stop well short. Finding a place to work that works for you, your breath, your body, your back. It's early.
You might feel it in your knees too.
Yeah, and if you are feeling it in your knees, you feel free to pad your mat or fold the mat over. We won't be here too much longer. So let's add on again. So inhaling, finding an arc to the back, and now rounding the spine as you draw it back towards the heel. So you're working the diagonal here. Inhaling, coming up center, and then finding that other heel. And again, just back and forth between the two places. Inhaling up, exhaling, drawing it back. And again, I'll just let you work with your breath, with your body. You could work it quick, you could work it slow, you could work it somewhere between the two. And let's add on one more time here. Inhaling up center, taking it back to a heel. Keep the hips low as you find that other heel. Up on the other diagonal, shifting shoulders and hips. And back to first heel. So working a figure 8 shape here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Let it be your figure 8. Whatever your body wants, whatever your back wants. Fast, slow, somewhere between the two, big, small. And then taking that figure 8 the other way. Yeah. However you choose to do it. I usually start from the heel side of things, but another couple times this way. And then coming back to an all fours position, we've got a new move here. We're going to move between the child's pose as we draw sits bones back to the heels. And then we're going to come up, we're going to arc the back. We're going to make lion paws with our fingers. We're going to stick our tongue out and roar, lion's breath. One more. So anybody that gets in your way today, give them one of those and see what happens. Even if it's just on an energetic level.
Yeah, in a mask.
and behind a mask too. From here, let's come back to all fours. And we're going to get to down dog with the cat-camel combo. So breathing in, arcing the back. So you want to find the arch, yeah. And now tucking the toes. Sorry. Find the arc. And now we find the round as we push into the hands and lift the knees. And then moving back towards neutral spine, back of the head's in line with the sacrum. As you push into the hands and stretch those heels down. I'll invite you to walk the dog as you bend one leg deeply, grounding down through the opposite heel. Same stretch, second side. And then back and forth between the sides, just stretching it out. How does your body feel? Again, a big part of the morning yoga practice, or indeed any yoga practice at all, is this aspect of exploration. We're not just pushing our body through a sequence of moves. We're using the moves to gain information. use that information in a home yoga practice to maybe choose what sequences you want to flow through. The other day my ankle was tweaked, so we did a lot of ankle stuff, or I did a lot of ankle stuff. From a place of movement, coming back towards stillness, long arms, long legs, long spine, deep full breath. And then on the tail end of a breath, bending your knees ever so slightly, lifting the tailbone a little bit higher, more space in the low back, and then looking between the hands, mindfully making your way to the front of your mat. Yeah, maybe take a jump. Awesome. Take a breath to find length. Think cat camel. You're arcing the back, hands cap the knees. On the exhale, rounding the spine again. Hands can catch the back of the shins for a little tractioning action. Inhaling, hinging at the hips, moving towards a neutral spine, leading with the back of the heart, arms out to the side and then overhead. And then exhaling, hands by your side. I'll invite you to face the camera here as you bring hands to heart. A light press of your thumb against your sternum, lining up each finger. A slight tuck of the chin. Coming back to that internal focus, watching as your breath flows in and out. Let's do a couple sun sal A's, hands by our side. I'll ask you to go sideways. Inhaling, arms up and over the head. On the exhale, a big forward fold. Inhaling, finding length, arcing the back. Exhaling, arching the spine, and then grounding down through the hands. So we have a choice. We can either just find our down dog and hold, or cycling through vinyasa. Yoga push-up, chaturanga, with or without the knees. Inhaling into either a cobra, the hips stay down, or finding your up dog as you lift the hips up, or somewhere between the two. And then on the exhale, rolling over the toes, back to your down dog, and holding for 3 to 5 breaths. And there's no need to rush the breath. As we hold down dog, coming back to the attention in our hands, really working those hands. And another cue I'll give is pressing the pads of the fingers down, but drawing the center of the palm up towards the shoulders, almost like your arms are 2 straws, and you're drawing the energy up from the floor. Shoulders engaged, either keeping the neck relaxed and the head super, super heavy, or long through all sides of the neck as you look back towards your navel. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending your knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little bit higher. And then looking between the hands as you step or take that jump from. Take a breath to find length. Exhaling, folding again. Inhaling, riding the breath up, arms out to the side and then overhead. And on the exhale, neutral spine, hands by your side. Let's do one more A here. Inhaling, arms up and over the head. On the exhale, leading with the heart as you fold. Inhaling, finding length as you arc the back. On the exhale, arching the spine as you ground on down and make your way back to down dog as you will. And then stretching it on back. As we hold down dog, there's lots of different foci. I'll introduce another one into the class here. Coming back to that Ujjayi breath, putting your attention in the base of your throat, from that place listening and feeling as your breath flows in and out. And besides that lion's breath, the Ujjayi breath is also a strengthening breath, a heating breath. So you can pretend you're Darth Vader when you're dealing with whatever situation is before you. Just think how old Darth would handle things. Probably not well. So maybe somewhere between Darth and Mr. Rogers. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little higher. And then looking between the hands as you step. Or take a jump front. Take a breath to find length, arcing the back. Exhaling, arching as you fold again. Yeah, there you go. And now moving towards a flat back, arms out to the side and then overhead. Exhaling, standing tall. Oh, I like a little back bend at the top. And we'll get into a little back bending now with Sun Sal B, or standing back bending anyway. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, we'll invite you to engage your glutes, a little back bend at the top, nice. And then a big swan dive over. Inhaling, finding length as you look up. Exhaling, folding again, and making your way back. To down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or just stretching straight back. Nice jump back. Flow style, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, finding a three-legged dog, right leg high to the sky. Keeping it simple, looking between the hands, bringing that right foot through, landing it lightly, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead, either neutral spine or maybe again a little bit of a back bend. And then on the exhale, back to low lunge as you spin that back heel up, and then back to down dog, as you will. Either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, your choice. Second side, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Looking between the hands, bringing that left foot through, spinning the back heel down, arms out to the side and then overhead. And then riding your exhale back to low lunge and then back to down dog, as you will. So we got the hands focus, we've got the throat focus. So let's practice focusing on two things at once. Not multitasking, but just more of a diffuse focus. So focusing on strength in the hands and then base of the throat, watching and feeling as your breath flows in and out. From down dog, long smooth breath in. Long smooth breath out. Tail into that breath, bending the knees ever so slightly as you lift the tailbone a little higher. And then looking between the hands as you step or take that jump front. Take a breath to find length, arcing the back. Exhaling, rounding the spine as you fold again. Inhaling, hinging at the hips, leading with the back of the heart, moving towards a neutral spine. Arms out to the side and then overhead. Maybe a little back bend at the top. And then hands by your side. And we actually forgot to turn it into a chair, so let's do that right now. Inhaling into our chair. Exhaling, taking it lower. Inhaling, rising on up. Exhaling, neutral spine, hands by your side. From here, hands find the hips as we either step or jump our feet hip width apart. Working with our fire breath, and this is a good, if you're feeling sleepy in the afternoon, this is an excellent breath to work. Short, sharp exhalations out through the nose. The inhale takes care of itself. As we inhale, arms up to one side. On the exhale, passing hands through center. A short, sharp exhalation out through the nose. And the other side. Couple more each way. One more each side. And then back up and either stepping or jumping it back in. Hands find the hips as we move towards a standing half lotus. Shifting the weight onto the right foot. You might angle those toes out just a tad to give your hip a little bit, not just a tad, I think it's probably a little bit, it's going to be a little different for every hip, but I find a little bit, it's a little more easeful in the hip. We're going to start to bend the right knee. We're going to bring that left ankle on top of the thigh. Starting to sit down in an invisible chair. Hands can stay on the hips or hands might find the heart. Maybe we stretch those hands high. And then finding a place to look that works for your breath and balance, either down to the ground, very grounding, off to the horizon, or maybe challenging your proprioception as you lift the face to look up to the sky. And you might just do that with the eyes. The head stays exactly the same thing as it is. Nice. High hands come back to the heart. Hard hands find the hips. Straightening the standing leg, lifting that left thigh high, the toe points down for the flamingo. Nice. And feeling free to stay here without dropping the thigh. You'll lean a little bit forward as you draw energy into center. And then lengthening through that leg. Now lifting that leg just a little higher. Now flexing the foot, we're going to sweep it on through, and I'll ask you to go sideways here as we find our warrior one. So right foot front, left foot back, is that correct? Yeah, nice. With our hands on our hips, so this is warrior one prep. We can use those hands to steer the hips front, so the back hip moves forward, front hip moves back. It's not going to get all the way there, but you want to feel that energetic action. Now 4 fingers find the tip of a thumb. We're going to stretch out our wrists as we try to touch the front of our wrists. You might play with that a little bit, yeah. See how your wrists feel. Now bringing those bird beaks onto your shoulders. You're going to relax your shoulders and screw your heart front. Now finding a clasp of the fingers behind the head, pressing the head into the hands, elbows wide to the side. You want to feel very open in heart chakra and throat chakra. Even here, a little bit of a back bend. And then stretching those hands high to the sky. From here with the breath, straightening the front leg without locking the knee as we gather up the energy. On the exhale, cactus arms as we offer it out. And back and forth. Inhale. And exhale. We'll do 6 here. Breathing in. And breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. 2 more to go here. Breathing in. Breathing out. Last one. Breathing in. Breathing out, and then holding those cactus arms. The elbows move back, the wrists come with. I'll invite you to ripple those fingers. Just enjoying the stretch. Now bringing hands back to the hips. Find your hips. And we're going to use our hands to steer our hips sideways for warrior 2 hips. And you'll kick the back foot in just a tad. Make sure the right foot's still front, left foot back. Nice. So you can get a nice facing camera here. And then one long arm. At home, you don't have to face the camera. And then you want to look out over those front fingers with that mixture of effort and ease. And this drishti or eye focus is another way to find courage. Imagine you're facing a situation and you're putting energy into the situation, but just the right amount. From here, I'll invite you to paint rainbows, straightening the front leg without locking the knee. Palm faces back, inhaling. Exhaling back to your warrior 2. And we'll do that 6 times. Breathing in. And breathing out. Inhale. And exhale. We got 3 more to go. Last 2. Last one. Inhaling up. And we'll hold this, the reverse warrior. You're going to reach up higher, feel the stretch, reaching down further. Particular focus is going to be that front lateral line, breathing into those ribs. Having said that, you don't want to crunch the back lateral line too much. So still feeling a sense of lift in both sides of the waist, stepping out of that pelvis. Nice. Turning the reverse warrior back into warrior 2. Now transitioning to the triangle. Thumb and forefinger find crease of hip and base of rib. Deepening that crease, lengthening those ribs. Keeping a little spring in that front knee as you ground bottom hand down. Would you like bricks?
Sure.
We'll give you some bricks outside the calf. I like them outside the calf so you can feel that physical connection. And you pretend like there's a glass wall here and you want to lean into the wall without breaking the glass. Yeah. And if that's too many bricks.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to be in the camera more.
Okay, that's all good. Yeah, thank you. Opening up that top shoulder, you can use the hand to do that. And then stretching hand high. Nice. As we hold the shape, with every inhale, breathing into your center of balance, the diaphragm stretches down towards the navel. With every breath out, the diaphragm relaxes and domes up to the heart, and that impetus sending energy out through the arms, the legs, both ends of the spine, as you make yourself bigger in space from the inside out.
May I make a comment that's a very interesting observation?
Sure.
So it feels like my arm is like tilting forward, but this is what it looks like straight. It's fascinating to me to see that this is my arm straight, yet this one feels like it's diagonally facing forward.
I would move the brick back just a little bit. And that looks a little more solid. Does that feel a little bit better?
Oh yeah, it feels good. Yeah.
You're working a really wide stance here, so which looks good on camera, but also might be a little hard to maintain.
Oh no, this feels really grounded, but I have really wide hips. Remember?
I know. So moving towards our half moon balance challenge. Hand finds the hip, either taking one step or you take a series of steps in. And you want to set your base. That right hand is off to the right. Do you want to use 2 bricks? Or?
Yeah, why not?
So you can either use bricks, you don't have to use bricks.
Now, if you weren't using bricks, what would you coach?
There's different ways to coach it. With beginners, I say start with 2 hands on the floor, lifting back leg. And then either keeping that second hand down or it finds the hips. You want to keep that same sideways orientation to the hips. We can use that hand to open up the shoulder, and then we can stretch hand high.
Right, now I'm ready for the bricks.
Yeah, and if, once you're up, if the brick's close by, you could always grab the brick. And these aren't the high quality, these are Walmart or Walgreen bricks. They're not the nice yoga studio bricks. They're a little skimpy.
Oh, everyone just sees my hips and not my head and shoulders. Oops.
Get back in camera.
There we go.
And I'll give that same breath cue here. So you want to breathe into your center of balance. And then from that place, finding more amplitude in the shape. You send energy out through the arms, the legs, and both ends of the spine. Yeah, that brick looked a little. So a lot of times people work a narrow stance between the brick and the foot or the hand and the foot. I like a nice wide base here. Just like the Transamerica Pyramid. You get that big wide base on the bottom, and that's going to help you find more length, more space in the shape.
There we go. That is straight. Now I know what straight feels like. Yay.
Top hand finds the hip. We're going to come down easily, landing a short stance. No big deal. Shifting the weight into the feet as we come up, back up. Hands find the hips. And now you're going to shift weight onto the front foot to lengthen the stance. For the purposes of the camera, you might do something else. And we'll come back to our warrior 2 or long arm. From here, I'll suggest a windmill of the arms, stretching out your shoulders as you come back to your low lunge. Different ways to do that. There you go. And then from low lunge, back to down dog. As you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back. Your choice. Yeah, feel free to use those knees. So this is where we get confused. I want to get the swan in, otherwise known as the pigeon. So let's see. We have, in the standing poses here, we've got our right foot forward, left foot back, right? Mm-hmm. So let's start on the left side here. So left leg high to the sky, high on the right toes. Now we're going to stack the hips. We want to keep that left shoulder just as it is, lifted leg straight. Now bending that lifted leg, opening up that hip. Nice, this should feel pretty good. Now you're going to keep the knee joint closed as you sweep left knee to left wrist. And you're going to walk that right foot back as you settle the hips. When you can't walk that foot back anymore, I'll suggest unfurling the foot so tops of the toes are down, not the tips. Setting 4th and 5th chakra, heart and throat chakra, the tips of 10 fingers, shoulder blades back and down, open heart, open throat. And then walking the hands forward, leading with the heart. Think cat-camel here, so you're keeping an arc to the back as long as you can. And then when you can't go any far forward, I'll suggest letting the spine round as the forehead comes down towards the floor. If your forehead comes easily to the floor, awesome. Also awesome is if you want to raise the floor by crossing the forearms or finding a pair of soft fists. As we hold the shape, sometimes the knee's a little weird here. Feel free to make little micro adjustments so that you don't feel so weird. You can find a sense of relaxation in this shape. And it's not easy. It's an intense shape on that hip. Some people love this pose. I have one student out there in Facebook Live land that loves this pose. Others, not so much. From the sleeping swan, I'll invite you to come back to the tips of 10 fingers, shoulder blades back and down, open heart, open throat. And then I'll invite you to fly the swan. And Kathy makes this look easy, but you want to feel a strong core engagement. The perineum draws up to the navel draws up to the heart as the arms float out to the side and then overhead. And then either holding the pose in stillness or maybe working those wrists a little bit, circling the wrists. Maybe from the flying swan, finding your cactus arms. Elbows move back, the elbows come with, nice. and we'll stay here all day.
No, stop.
No, we will not stay here all day.
Please, this is not flow yoga.
As we ground down through the palms. Yeah, if you want to stretch them out a little bit more, go for it. And then tucking the back toes. You're going to keep the knee joint closed as you lift that left leg up. And then very carefully, you're going to open up that knee joint. Maybe give it a little shake, just encouraging.
I think that was a little too long.
A little too long? All right,
Yeah.
we'll try to go a little shorter on the second side. And then you'll ground down through that foot. And either holding your down dog, maybe walking the dog from side to side. Or if you still want a little more heat, a little more tapas, cycling through vinyasa, your choice.
I think I might have done that pose wrong. I think I had too much weight in my knee. My hips were up. So you have to probably show me how to do it better on the second side. The alignment.
Okay. I like, so it depends on I like to use the heel of the foot to support the far hip. And I think I have bigger feet and narrower hips than you do, so that might not work for you.
Okay. I'll try that on the other side.
Yeah. All right. So from our down dog, bending the knees ever so slightly, lifting the tailbone a little higher, and then looking between the hands as you either step or take a jump front. Awesome. Take a breath to find length. On the exhale, folding again. We're not going to forget the chair this time. On the inhale, stay low, knees over toes, hands over head, back of the head in line with the sacrum, neutral spine. Exhaling, taking it lower. On the inhale, rising on up, engaging those glutes to support a little back bend at the top. On the exhale, neutral spine, hands by your side. I'll ask you to face camera. As you bring hands to heart, this time adding an isometric engagement. Pressing the palms together, elbows wide, a tuck of the tail, a tuck of the chin, connecting with the strength of your center. And then lifting the chin, tall through the crown, hands by your side. So let's come back to that fire breath again. Again, this is a great thing to do after lunch, after you've taken your 15-minute nap, to get back into the activity of the day. So hands find the hips as we either step or jump our feet hip width apart. This time with our fire breath, we'll inhale the arms out to each side. On the exhale, passing the hands through center, giving those wrists a little flick. A couple more each way. One more each side. And then back up. And either stepping or jumping it back in. Awesome. Moving towards our standing half lotus, second side. Shifting the weight onto the left. You know, and like, in terms of the angle, you could work straight toes. I find my hip feels a little bound that way, so I like to angle the toes out just a tad, not too much. But there's a place where you start to feel a little less bound in that hip. Shifting the weight onto that left foot as we bring the right ankle on top of the thigh. Hands stay on the hips as we lower the hips at the same rate. And we have choices. Hands can stay right there, or hands find the heart. Maybe we stretch those hands high to the sky. Nice.
I'm just trying to get into.
It doesn't have to be perfect, yeah. As we hold the shape, maybe playing with your wrists a little bit. And then challenging your balance, your proprioception, looking down to the ground, very stable, very grounding. Off to the horizon, a little less so. And then most challenging would be to lift the face, to look up to the sky. And if lifting the chin to do that causes the Tower of Babel to fall, you might just think about lifting the eyes, keeping the head just as it is. Awesome. High hands can come back to the heart. Hard hands become hip hands. Now straightening the standing leg, lifting that right thigh high, toe points down for the flamingo. If you want to take it further, you want to think about leaning a little bit forward to draw energy into your center of balance as you lengthen through that leg. And of all the poses we do in my flow class, I find this is probably the most challenging. Without taking it into the low back, keep leaning a little bit forward as you lift the leg a little higher. Nice. Now flexing the foot as you sweep it on through, and you're going to have right foot back, left foot front, and you can face the camera. So make sure you're nice and open here. Warrior One prep, hands are on the hips. We can use those hands to steer the hips front. Back hip moves front hip moves back. It's not going to be perfect, but you want to feel that energetic action. 4 fingers find the tip of a thumb. And just starting to work those wrists a little bit. And then bringing those bird beaks onto your shoulders, relaxing your shoulders and squaring your heart. Now switching the clasp of the fingers. So you're gonna press the head into the hands here. Open heart and throat chakra, a little bit of a back bend here. You might engage the glutes to support that action. You want to have a foundation for space. And then keeping heart and throat chakra open as you stretch those hands high to the sky. You can work your Warrior One either with neutral spine, back of the head's in line with the sacrum, or you find a little bit of a back bend. Moving with the back, with the breath, with your movement here as we inhale the arms up overhead, gathering up the energy. Exhaling cactus arms. We'll do that 6 times. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. We're halfway done. Breathing in and breathing out. The last 2. Breathing in, breathing out. Last one. Breathing in, breathing out. Now holding Warrior One with cactus arms. The elbows move back, the hands come with, rippling those fingers, just enjoying the stretch. And this is a go-to stretch. You can do this at your desk, seated in a chair. You don't have to be in Warrior One legs.
And a mask.
And if you're doing a lot of this, or a lot of this, a lot of this, is a nice counter pose. From here, hands come back to the hips, and that's a good one too. And we're going to steer those hips sideways. As we find Warrior Two hips, and we're going to kick the back foot in a little bit. Traditionally, it's heel to arch alignment. And then finding one long arm. And coming back to another courage tool here. You want to look over those front fingers with that kind of a no-nonsense gaze, but it's not in a mean way. It's
Superhero.
You're a superhero. You're
Superhero
just taking things seriously, but also not too seriously. From here, painting rainbows, breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhale and exhale. Halfway done. Breathing in, breathing out. Last 2, breathing in, breathing out. Last one, we'll hold that reverse warrior, reaching up higher, reaching down further. The obvious focus is this front lateral line and finding more space between each rib. The less obvious focus is this back side. You want to feel like there's still a sense of space here as both sideways lifts up and out of the pelvis, finding more space in your body. Turning a reverse warrior back into Warrior Two. Front knee bends. Transitioning to the triangle, thumb and forefinger find a crease of hip and base of rib. We're going to deepen that crease and lengthen those ribs. I'm a little teacup, short and stout. Grounding that bottom hand down. Now if you use the knee, make sure you're not pushing the knee backwards. You want to push the knee into the hand as much as the hand pushes into the knee. If you want to work a little bit lower, I'll suggest lining up your thumb with the shin bone to open up that bottom shoulder. We can use that top hand to open up top shoulder if you've already done that. And stretching hand high. Would you like bricks?
Sure.
All right. I can kind of see where I think they should go, having said that you're in your body, so you can feel free to make that adjustment. If you are using bricks, I like a little physical connection there. And then I pretend there's a glass wall here, and I'm leaning into the wall, but not too much. I don't want to break that glass. Again, the breath cue, breathing into your center of balance, 3 fingers below the navel. And as you breathe out from that place of balance, finding more amplitude in the shape, getting bigger in the shape from the inside out. Awesome. How does that feel in terms of the arms?
Good.
Looks good. Yeah. You have a nice, easeful energy in the shape, and that's a good place to be. Another thing to think about is the balance of energy between the foundational energy rooting down through the legs, and the rising up energy as you stretch up to the sky. Now moving towards our half moon balance challenge. Hand finds the hip, either one big step or a series of steps in. So Kathy's going to do some machinations here just so she stays in camera. You at home, you might just launch into the shape. But setting her base. Yeah. When she has that base, lifting back leg. And again, when people are new to the shape, I'll suggest using two hands at least to start. Opening up top shoulder. And then stretching hand high when you're ready. It's a little scary next to those windows.
All right. I can see why you're scared.
Beautiful, nice. There's always different questions as to what to do with the back foot. I think in Iyengar's book, he's got a flex back foot. I find sometimes that constrains my diaphragm, as strange as it seems. So I like to keep the back foot a little bit softer, or even find a point. You might just play with it, move back and forth between the two. Gives you something to think about besides not falling, right?
Mm-hmm. True.
Well, I used that. That was the F word, the fall word. You want to use that?
Sorry, it's fine.
Yeah, beautiful, nice. Again, breathing into your center of balance from that place bigger in the shape. Awesome. And then coming down easily, hand finds the hip, landing a short stance. Hands find the hips is going to help. Shifting weight onto the front foot as you lengthen the stance. And again, it's safer always to move the back foot, but for the purpose of the camera. And then finding one long arm, finding your warrior two. And then a big windmill as you stretch it on out, swimming it on down, finding your down dog as you will, either cycling through vinyasa or stretching straight back, your choice. All right, I think we're going to nail it this morning, Kath. So we had left foot front, right foot back. So now we're going to start on the right foot here as we find a three-legged dog, big toes touch, heels slightly apart, and then that right leg high to the sky. Keeping the right shoulder just as it is, lifted leg straight as we stack the hips. We'll try to find more twist from the torso, less from the shoulder. Yeah, nice. Awesome. Now bending the leg, opening up that hip. Yeah, feel free to bend the leg now. And now keeping that knee joint closed, you're going to bring that knee towards that wrist. So right knee towards right wrist. Now here now, as you settle it down, this is where we want to kind of set the base here. So take your time here. You're going to walk the left foot back. No need to rush. Make sure your knee feels good. What I like to do is I would use the heel of this foot to support that hip point over there. So,
Oh, the other hip point.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
got
that.
it.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And
Like a triangle.
I have big feet and my hips are a little bit narrower than yours.
So mine's gonna go to my like perineum or something.
Yeah, find a place that's comfortable.
So it's actually not gonna. I not necessarily stretch mine all the way over, just because my foot won't go that far.
Okay.
So my heel goes here.
Yeah, and I think that if that feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and you want to make sure your knee feels good too.
Well, right. That's kind of where the I think sometimes the lean can go out of alignment. So I'm actually trying to think of what's the best.
Yeah,
so
it's in a lot of times I tell people if their knees are not feeling right, flip over and do this on your back.
But I think I've gotten it to where it's right, and it's just a little different in terms of the cueing. So it's fine.
Okay. So can you walk that foot back anymore?
This
So
way.
now unfurling the foot, stabilizing the shape. We're going to find length in the spine here, so think cat camel. So tips of 10 fingers, shoulder blades back and down, an arc to the back. Keeping that arc as long as you can as you walk those hands forward. If you take your time here, you get a nice back stretch. And I'll invite you to really just feel a lot of extension in those arms, yeah. And keep going forward, keep going forward, keep going forward, yeah. Keep going forward, yeah, nice. Now you're on the wood, you can let those hands slide. And then let the pose relax. Now if your forehead comes easily down, great. If not, also great. As you cross the forearms, or even make a pair of soft fists, and that'll give you a little more height. And as we hold the shape, sometimes when we're down here, we find we're not quite where we need to be in terms of our comfort, so feel free to make little micro adjustments. And then when you've made those adjustments, try to relax into the shape. And this is an intense shape. Again, some people love it, some people not so much. Even the people that don't like it that much do love it when they get out of the shape. So there's always that too. Why am I banging my head against the wall? Well, it feels good when I stop. And this is probably better than banging head against the wall. So from the sleeping swan, we're going to move towards the flying swan. So you're going to come back up, either walking the hands in or finding the tips of 10 fingers again. Shoulder blades back and down. Again, think cat camel. We're going to live an arc to the back, or at least neutral spine. Strong, strong engagement as the perineum draws up to the navel draws up to the heart as you float those hands out to the side and then overhead. We won't hold it as long, but we want to do two things here. A little bit of a wrist action here. And then when you're ready, moving towards your cactus arms. I'll let you move at your own pace. And then when you're ready, you'll come out of the shape.
Oh my God, I didn't even notice I was in the shape this time. So perfect positioning.
In terms of the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the knee wasn't right on the first time, so that you were...
I could be in this all day.
Okay, you did. Oh, perfect. Nice, nice, nice. There's another variation. The clasping the fingers behind the back, open heart, open throat. Kathy's a natural yogi. She'll just flow into these shapes.
Oh, that's so nice.
fun
I'm
stuff.
gonna remember that during the challenging parts of my day today.
There you go. And then when you're ready, again, even though your knee's feeling wonderful, when you're ready to come out, come out. As we ground down through the palms, the knee joint stays closed. As we tuck the toes, we lift that leg up and then very carefully opening up that knee, inviting more vitality into the joint. And that's one way to invite vitality in as we compress, we make it a little bit uncomfortable, and then we make it comfortable and open it up. And the blood rushes in, vitality rushes in, whatever you choose to call it, prana, synovial fluid is agitated and then activated to lubricate the joint. And then when you're ready, ground it down through 2 hands and 2 feet, either walking the dog from side to side, or you have one more opportunity this morning to cycle through vinyasa. Your choice. Yeah. Take your time. And then one more time, let's play with that ujjayi breath. So really putting your mind in the base of your throat and listening and feeling as that breath flows in and out. And this is a great way to center during the day, wherever you are in your workplace, your leisure place, wherever you choose to be today. If you start to feel like you need to refocus on whatever you need to focus on, the ujjayi breath is a great, great tool. From our down dog shape, I'll invite you to find a child's pose as you land the knees lightly, sits bones back to the heels. I'll suggest arms in extension as you stretch out your back. And then again, heavying that forehead down, arms in extension. You can play with spinning the palms up, spinning the palms down, just whatever your shoulders want, whatever your body wants. And as we hold this child's pose, I'll invite you to find your belly breath, which is an awesome tool for relaxation. Putting your mind in your belly and dropping the breath down. Letting your belly massage your thighs as you breathe in. Letting your thighs massage your belly as you breathe out. And from this place of deep relaxation, I'll invite you to walk the hands back and bring your feet off to one side, coming onto your back, either a long, slow roll down or just plopping straight down, really up to you. As we move towards our Shavasana, doing whatever feels right and good for you. As we hold Shavasana, the tip of your tongue is now neutral in your mouth. A slight part to the lips, but still breathing in and out through your nose. We won't be here too long. At home, feeling free to hold your Shavasana as long as you'd like. For the purposes of this class, in this place, I'm going to ring these yoga bells 3 times. I'll invite you to move your minds before you move your bodies. Bringing your attention back to your breath, watching as it flows in and out, like watching a river as the river flows by. From this place of just watching your breath, I'll invite you to shape your breath, finding a long, slow inhalation, followed by an even longer, slower exhalation, finding a more relaxing breath with longer, slower out breaths. Keeping this more relaxing breath, inviting more prana, more vitality, more life force into your body as you gently ripple fingers and toes. Inviting that prana, that life force, that vitality in towards center as you gently circle wrists and ankles. Maybe adding a little shimmy of the shoulders, a little shimmy of the hips, whatever feels right and good for you. Now pressing your back into the mat to engage your core as you draw your knees in towards your heart. Hands catch the shins, and then using your thighs to massage your center of balance, your low belly, either front to back, side to side, little circles, whatever feels right and good for you. Now reaching back with the hand to lift and tuck the chin, keeping the neck relaxed. Keeping the chin tucked, hand comes back to the shin. Either keeping hands on the front of the shins or catching the back of the thighs as you start to roll yourself front to back, front to back. And then a little momentum, a little core engagement as we pop on up to find a cross-legged sit. Facing the camera, if you remember which way your legs were crossed way back when, you can switch the cross. As we sit, grounded down through our sits bones, hands catch the knees. We pull back with the hands to settle the shoulders. Sitting up a little straighter, a little taller. A slight tuck of the chin as hands find the heart. Ending our practice as we started, watching as our breath flows in. And watching as our breath flows out. From this place of breath awareness, I invite you to bow as you thank yourself for practicing yoga. And as we offer our practice out to each other and to the world, the light within us honors and respects the light within you. And in this light, we are one. Thank you at home for practicing with us. Thank you, Kathy, for practicing with me. And we'll see you all real soon. And as always, I don't know if my joke gets old, namaste sounds so much like have a nice day. So namaste and have a nice day. We'll see you all real soon.
Namaste. Thank you.